everything is on the line, could definitely see some risks into certain dungeons that they may not be able to afford.
And we are underway with just a big 20 in Link's house.
Schwarz had a little bit of a hesitation there to potentially save and quit after the chest.
Yeah, this is a strategy I've seen the runners in this tournament start to do, of checking the tree pole that has been put here in the south area, whereas Purdy is just heading for Stumpy and getting a fire rod.
Oh, don't tell me this is gonna be a super early gotta kill Mothula with fighter sword sequence.
Well, we would still need to find a sword first.
Well, we do know where one sword is. They're at the uncle, but there's still 3 more swords to be found. This may be hard, but there's still 4 swords that are played.
So another thing that we're also seeing in new and inverted is this arrow shop that you would never think to go into in normal randomizer. We're now seeing runners use to farm the cash, which will certainly be needed for the digging game.
Yeah, seeing this a lot of inverted also, some of it in retro as well, where rupee farming is quite valuable. And this digging game, in fact, does cost 80 rupees, so it's a lot you have to spend to serve.
And the thing is, with that digging game, even though it is 80 bucks, it is possible if you keep digging, work on getting your money back, but so far just one big 20 and a lot of digs for not much yet.
Yeah, some rupees, some magic, some flippers.
I'll take flippers.
Yeah, that gives access over to the eastern part at this point, so they can get into Palace of Darkness, they can check the pyramid right. Would imagine that's not really where they're gonna go right now. Wouldn't really want to head into Palace of Darkness at this.
We're gonna see Purdy check Bumper Ledge, which just has 10 arrows.
Now there are some easy to get bombs you can get inside of Skull Woods, so may just be where Purdy's gonna go. Do see all 3 pendants here in the Dark World at Mire, Swamp, and Skull Woods with Crystal 5 in Thief.
So interesting that we're seeing all pendants in the Dark World at this point.
This is Old Onions, so Old Onions will have to be beaten, so just checking to get some sort of information. A light world check is still a little bit valuable to figure out where the other 5-6 crystal is for Pyramid.
And Purdy picks up a shovel after farming the bombs that they're going to need for the moment.
Well, that fetch quest is going to be put on hold for now. We'll need the light world access before they can do that. This is, as we all see, it is inverted, so you will need the Moon Pearl in order to do stuff in the light world. Some exceptions. And also these are just intentional deaths to respawn these bombs. Since you get 2, you take the death and then the 2 respawn.
So as of right now, we have the one item that is in Skullwoods, which is the shovel. There's 2 more places we can check. We can check the Vanilla Big Key location here that Wong is heading into. And then there's the bridge chest in the back of Skullwoods if you wanted to go all the way back there.
It's a long way to walk for one item, but it may just be what they have to do at this point. They do have some checks in Village of Outcast, Thieves' Town is always open, but it's a long way to walk to get back. No
but
need,
there's
no?
the second item.
Yeah, they're gonna wait with the back of Skullwoods until they get something that's a little bit more powerful so that they can take down Mothula. And no need to worry about an early Mothula. Hype Cave does have a tendency to be a little bit more hyping inverted.
The blue mail will certainly help with this being hard mode.
The blue mail is the highest mail upgrade they can have. The hammer is kind of the weapon that they were looking for. So I wouldn't be surprised at this point to just see a straight beeline over to Thieves Town and get that dungeon over.
Yep, with that hammer, you can check the big chest, you can kill blind. Thieves Town is pretty much a full clear at this point.
It is still 3 hearts. The blue mail does help a little bit, but it is also hard mode, so you can't really expect them to find all that many heart containers.
Yeah, we actually really haven't taken a moment to kind of go over all of the modes that we actually have. So, with it being hard difficulty, as you said, we're only going to get to blue mail, we're only going to get to tempered sword and fire shield and 14 hearts. No half magic. Silvers can only be used on Ganon.
Also, health potions only restores 7 hearts. Magic potion restores 50%. The boomerang is pretty crap because it doesn't stun. Essentially, there's a lot of changes that are made to make Link, you, the player, weaker and have less options. Well, nothing really here in Village of Valkas, so expecting this Thieves Town here. And as one of the first 5-6 crystals, should the other 5-6 be an easy to acquire dungeon in the Light World, could see an early Pyramid Fairy coming into effect and perhaps even routed in it with the regular Pyramid check.
Yeah, the only thing there is, with you starting in the light world, in order to be able to get the bomb back to the dark world, you'd either have to have, well, no, you would have to have the mirror, I think. Because the thing is, in inverted, Link's house and the bomb house are flipped. So you would get the bomb in the light world, and then you have to get it back to the dark world.
Yes, you would need the mirror for that. We'll have to wait and see if that's something that's gonna be of use later on. This is all dungeons, so they will need all necessary items to beat all of the dungeons. And since this is inverted, they also need the book. There's no other way to get into desert other than the book. Some tough navigation here that our players have to do at 3 hearts. Already here in what's known as the Hellway. I think most people can tell why it's called that.
And he makes it look easy. I promise you it's not.
We are going to get our first hint tile here checked by Purdy, which means that they don't have to bother with the Tower of Hera basement. That's pretty good information.
Yeah, that is good to see.
And the thing is still that since the map is there, they will still be able to get the 2 items regularly along the way. Schwarz not checking the hint, but it's not going to hurt. Schwarz now down to a single heart.
The other outstanding issue right now is Schwartz hasn't been to Hype Cave, so he gets the literacy there, which is what we'll need to get into Desert. But he's not going to be able to check Big Chest or kill Blind right now.
And that's definitely a problem for him. I wonder, though, depending on how much this death ends up mattering, it may not be too bad if he just decides to leave at this point.
Which he does.
So while it may be an unfortunate death from Schwartz's perspective, this may just end up being good for him.
And now he's gonna get that hammer.
As Purdy just keeps on pushing through Thieves Town.
Yeah, with not having a glove, you have to kill the enemies to open the door to get around that block.
Schwartz here also getting the blue mail alongside his hammer. Purdy on hard again here. Very dangerous paths to navigate here.
So Max Deuce gave us a Tier 1 sub-subscription for 5 months in a row. Thank you very much. Also, Act the Boker asking in chat, did Schwartz blow up the floor? Yes.
Purdy does have the small key here. I've not kept track of the map and compass, but he's going to go and check that as Schwartz is going to head towards the pyramid.
Well, there's at least a 4th heart for the blind fight.
I mean, the fewer heart containers you have, the more they matter to pick up.
And we have Power Glove at Pyramid Ledge.
Well, this certainly opens up some places. You can go straight to Catfish at this point. You can sequence break up to Death Mountain. But more importantly, we do have this 4-heart blind fight here with the hammer for Purdy.
Alright, 2 phases down, 2 hearts to go.
Pausing here just to check the projectiles here to be able to navigate them. Goes down to 1 heart. There's 1 more hit. It's very unfortunate here for Purdy taking this death. And Schwartz also takes a death on the way to Catfish.
This is inverted hard mode for you.
Oh, some major time losses for both our players here. Schwartz is dedicating himself to head on back over east. Maybe he's going to pod now instead of pursuing the Catfish.
Yep, looks like that's what he's doing.
And Purdy is going to start off here with the pyramid and get himself his gloves. So with all said and done, both players pretty close to one another despite these unintentional deaths. But it will be interesting to see if Purdy is going to try and pursue the Catfish or also make the play into pod.
And that is a direction for Catfish.
It is indeed. We'll see if he manages to survive and, well, for Schwartz, hopefully not anything valuable over at the Catfish. Schwartz here also having some good knowledge, knowing that there is a heart underneath that pot in the top right corner. And Purdy is successfully going to be able to check Catfish here. Schwarz did get a small key in the first chest of pod and is continuing deeper in.
Alright, Catfish, what do you got for us? Just bombs.
Birdie's still picking those up because he doesn't have full. Perfectly fine. Schwarz, compass, and a key, so. Well, still looking for something.
And pretty much it has to be here, because without the lamp, logically we can't get up to Death Mountain. We don't have the mirror to be able to open up Swamp Palace. No, you know where? Actually, we could go to Ice Palace right now.
Yeah, they could go into Ice with 3 to 4 hearts blue mail. I'm not really sure that's a call they want to make, but it may just be where the progression is.
But logically, this compass chest is the only thing left we can be, but it's a key, so we can go.
Well, Schwarz here, continuing with these sequence breaks here. Purdy is also doing that. You will need the lamp by the logic to check these, but if you do know how to navigate these rooms, it's fine, but nothing here.
Okay, I'm still... The pod logic is still kind of a thing I'm still trying to figure out, but I think at this point, with only finding 3 keys and not having the lamp, I think anything else that we're going to find is going to essentially be a sequence break.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. But so far, nothing is being found, as Purdy is turning into the light world here to show the old man back to his home. This is something you can do despite not having the moon.
Old man giving out hook shots today.
I do feel like the old man has a disproportionate number of hook shots. And nothing in pod.
Yeah, so I think our progression is an Ice Palace.
The hookshot also does lead itself a little bit towards Ice Palace. Depending on key logic, it may be required for certain locations in there. This is gonna... Well, that's a good hint, but the hammer locks a lot of locations.
Alright, so there's a heart container in the Meyer shack.
Schwarz is making this call and not sequence breaking up to Death Mountain, so this is what the logic at least demands from our players. And Schwarz here utilizing bombs here against these pen gators.
And there's the lamp.
So that puts everything in logic at this point. So up to Death Mountain, get the hook shot. I don't remember certainly about the number of items over in Thieves Town. Potentially Blind could also have an item there.
I think he did, because I remember our tracker saying that it was, the map and the compass were in the front, and I remember seeing their key count at 0 after going to the big chest, so I'm pretty sure there's an item on Blind.
And the Lionel's not being very nice to Purdy here. takes another very unfortunate death. Swords here getting the yoke tile, not interested in that. And just to clarify a little bit on a previous hint, which we didn't specifically mention, was the fact that the boots are locked behind the hammer. It is just that the hammer locks so many locations that there is no real way to pinpoint down where it is.
I have to say, this is one of the few times that I've watched Randomizer that I don't see a runner not do the Ice Palace bomb jump, but when you only have half a heart, it's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, not really much that Swords can do in this situation. He just has to go for it this way and hope that it works out. So Purdy once again navigating, trying to dodge these Lionel. And perhaps this is where some progression lie here in Super Bunny Cave.
Sword will certainly count as that.
Well, they can kill Mothula now, but Mothula doesn't have an item.
They can also go do Aga 1 now.
Yeah, that is a thing. But would you want to do that without having the Moon Pearl?
I mean, I would do what Purdy's doing right now and checking Hookshot Cave first.
I mean, the first bottle, ether, they will need at least one medallion, don't know which one yet. So they're finding some nice stuff here, but there's still an issue of getting the proper access to the light world.
And see, so to your earlier point about would you go ahead and do Aga 1 now, well, with now having that sword and ether, I would have been curious to walk over and see if you could get into Turtle Rock. Oh wait, you can't, Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, you can't take the main entrance without the Cane of Samaria. Pretty, you're gonna buy a blue potion in here. They just keep on getting the hint tiles at this point. And here is where you need the hook shot normally, so Swords needs to make this bomb jump happen.
Gets it done.
And this allows him to continue in Ice Palace. Swords here still only at 3 heart containers, and yeah, you can't cross that.
Schwartz is deciding to head out.
This is certainly a very rough opening in this inverted sea. This hard combination lacking heart containers just limits them so much. Schwartz has picked up the lamp and is going to use that to head up to Death Mountain. And I don't really think either player is very happy with how this seed has progressed. They've taken several deaths, and in general, if you die once, you feel like you're behind for the rest of the seed.
Yeah, but both of them taking multiple deaths, this has been pretty relentless.
Purdy here does have 4 heart containers, 8 bombs, will be able to do this bomb jump. There we go, first try. And this hookshot is a surprisingly useful defensive tool, since when the hookshot is extended, you are invulnerable to all forms of damage.
It also helps that the hookshot just mows down those pen gators.
Yeah, the hookshot for some weird reason one-shots pen gators. Schwarz now going to get his hookshot.
So there's a conversation in chat about, can the Moon Pearl be in the light world in this state? It actually can. You would still hope it's an ice palace.
And in Schwarz's position, you're hoping it's up here on Death Mountain. We know it's not, but you know. Still a few locations left here to check in ice first, though.
Mm-hmm. There's bombs. So that's the second item.
The search continues until you find what you're looking for.
And that is the third item, and that is the Moon Pearl, and that's light world access.
And yes, extremely unfortunate here for Schwarz not having just one heart was all he needed to get to that. But he isn't going to be out of options and be forced to make the call back into Ice Palace. Purdy is going to attempt, I should say, to finish off this dungeon. This is still 4 hearts blue mail going into Cold Stare.
Alright, and we do have Bombos on Turtle Rock, but in Inverted, once you get the mirror, you can backdoor your way into Turtle Rock, and there are times where that medallion may not be necessary for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, the one that truly matters here is the one that is needed for Maya. Also don't know where that mirror is found, but right now, this is a really tough fight for him.
Yeah, 4 hearts, and Cold Stare basically does 3 heart damage if you give Cold Stare a hug.
Doing a good job there picking up the blue potion and getting some nice double hits there with those 4 fire rod shots that he had available to him. Now it's out with the hammer and just dodging everything that falls from the...
And with that small hitbox of the hammer, you gotta be real careful, because you basically have to get as close as you can to Cold Stare.
Purdy so far is handling the fight extremely well. That was an amazing fight with the low equipment he had.
Absolutely beautiful.
First dungeon, first crystal here for Purdy, and he has his light roll access. I think it's pretty straightforward where he's headed right now.
Yeah, that's the thing in Inverted. It is very claustrophobic in terms of the few locations you can go to, but once you can get to the light world, it opens up so much.
And Schwarz is going to make the call to go and do Aga 1. This is all dungeons, so this will still be required at some point, but it's not really the kind of call you want to make this early. And we know that it's not the call that is needed for light roll act. And even then the guards are not being particularly nice. Purdy is going to start off here by going up to the castle escape. This is Uncle Ashworth's sword, so he's going to be able to pick up his master sword. He also has the lamp, so he can continue to make progress into the dark here if he decides to go for castle escape.
With that power glove, even if the key is on the backside, you can still do all of the escape if you have to split it in half.
Yeah, it's a little bit trickier to light in these, or route in these regular light wall locations here in Inverted, especially when you don't have that mirror for easy access around the world. But if there is a valuable hint in here, that may be something that Schwarz can use to its advantage, and at least means purple chest is not needed, and that's a lot of time spent to get that one.
Schwarz having to be careful with only one heart.
Definitely seems to be the theme of this race so far, is constant sense of danger.
I mean, that's Inverted in a nutshell, but adding it with the hard difficulty, like, we've found a lot of items, and we're still at most 4 hearts blue, man.
Yeah, I mean, Schwarz here, more than half an hour in, still just on 3 heart containers. I've seen a lot of Inverted, I've seen a lot of hard, but I've not seen this low count this far in.
Alright, Zelda still having the Tempered Sword, so that's as high a sword as we're getting in this race.
Yeah, there is another sword placed, but should they find it at this point, it will just be converted into 20 rupees. So, really good to have that sword, I would still say early on, since you've only done 1 dungeon. I just wish there was more to talk about Aga 1, but it's Aga 1.
We haven't even had a blue ball yet.
That's a good thing, because I don't really want to see those.
Nope.
Already will find 50 rupees, so no key, can't continue like this. It's gonna take a Death Warp, save and quit.
Alright, we get a map check from Schwarz. Desert Palace is the other 5-6 crystal, so it is possible right now that we can clear both of those. Well, boots, maybe. That's the one exception with Desert.
Yeah, and the only thing we know about boots is that they are hammer locked. But yeah, the search continues for those boots. Schwarz is heading over to Kakariko to do a few of those light world locations that you can check. It's just that none of them is going to have the move.
Yeah, the 2 that are logical right now is you can talk to the bottle vendor, you can talk to Sick Kid, you can drop down in the well, and that activates the Super Bunny to open the chest, but I don't think the well is in logic without the Moon Pearl.
I'm unsure, but I would also imagine that since Super Bunny does count as a minor glitch, it is in fact a sequence break, but there was nothing there except... You see the mushroom here in the Hylia cave. Quite tricky to get to that area though when you... Perhaps convoluted is a more appropriate word.
Alright, we got the bow and the dam.
Bow, hammer combination, Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace. Fully clearable, you have the lamp as well, it's all in logic. 2 dungeons you can just knock down at this point.
And actually with hammer and hookshot, Hera's in logic. We still need the mirror for Swamp Palace. Skullwoods were good, Thieves Town were good, Mire. We need to get to the Mire area, plus its medallion, plus Cane of Samaria.
Schwarz is heading back into Thieves Town to finish off this continuous search for the Moon Pearl for him as Purdy takes the Whirlpool to head on over here, delivering the mushroom. So Schwarz is at least going to be able to get a heart container here. Oh, Purdy found one.
Mushroom for a heart.
I take it. This hellway is being absolute hell for Schwarz, just barely manages to get through it.
And with Inverted, in the Light World, we had to do some excavating to be able to get to some of the mirror locations, because the mirror goes from the Light World to the Dark World, so that's why there's a ladder to Graveyard Ledge for bombs.
That's the worst hellway I've ever seen. Schwarz just stood in the entrance, he couldn't do anything for like 15 seconds, and then he still gets hurt. Purdy will take the fall here to the back of Escape, get those 3 items that are there. We do know the key is still not found.
Alright, there's a Cane of Brian, and we did find that key, but since we've been to the Dark Crossroads, we'll need to go back there, but you're gonna take the long way up to Sanctuary because, well, since it's inverted, you start in the Dark Chapel, not in Sanctuary.
Yeah, and since this is hard, the Cane of Burna doesn't give you any vulnerability, so it's just a tool for damage if that's what you want to do. Okay, so at least the Ice Rod was pretty easily available this seed, I guess that's a plus.
Yeah, and that pretty much means we're just we're almost just a Cane of Samaria and a mirror away from go mode. Medallions pending and boots lock pending.
And they will need an access into the Mire area. I believe that is just flute, right?
Mirror will do it.
Yeah, that's true. The mirror will in fact do it. My bad.
And there's Titan's Mitts in the Lost Woods hut.
They don't do very much. Meanwhile, Schwarz did take down the 4-heart blind fight for a single green rupee. It is Schwarz's first dungeon finished. It's just that he's still searching for the Moon Pearl at this point.
Yep, he's got to go back to Ice Palace.
Purdy now gets to do this super lucrative Kakariko area, but as you said earlier, there's not that many items that you're looking for right now.
And Schwarz is making the right call.
I don't really feel like he has any other calls to make at this point. He's done Thieves Town, he's been in Palace of Darkness, he's done Naga 1, checked the Light World locations. I feel like this is the last spot for him. And Catfish. And Catfish didn't have anything. 3 bombs. Purdy's gonna have the ability to do a lot of dungeons when he's done with all these overworld checks.
Yeah, where would you go first?
And I always believe that doing Eastern Pod back-to-back is always a good call. There's a good amount of items there. On the other hand, maybe you would prefer something that is a little bit more hammerlocked, since you do know that hint about the boots being hammerlocked.
Yeah, I don't think that would be...
Yeah, I'm starting to think that's Swamp, actually, at this point.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I was also going to bring up... With the hammer and hook shot, you can get up to the Hera area. You could do Paradox Cave. And Mimic Cave is one of those hammer-locked locations that the hint refers to.
Yeah, that is another possibility. Another heart container here, so that's 3 of them. There's also a potential that Purdy may be a little bit more inclined to go check Desert, combine it with Thieves Town, be able to do Pyramid Ferry and then do Eastern Pod following that, or just checking Desert to see if the boots are needed for the dungeon.
Nothing at the race game. Purdy's continuing to go on, so I think this is going to dig up the shovel spot.
That shovel was found quite early. First just going here and checking the V-Torp cave. The V-Torp is a disappointment today.
Schwarz has the Moon Pearl, but then nopes out, decides not to kill Cold Stare right now, which, again, 4 hearts blue mail, I wouldn't blame him.
Well, we also did see that since Cold Stare dropped a small key, by logic, you do need Cane of Samaria for the boss. Of course, if you do know how to make the bomb jump, it's perfectly fine.
Looks like Purdy is taking your advice and making his way over to Pod, and very well combo Pod and Eastern after this.
Well, these are places that you have to do at some point anyway, so just get it over with right now. And these aren't really dungeons that may be all that faster in go mode, especially not Eastern, because all the chests are essentially along the way. Maybe it's just vanilla big key location and it's exact same as doing it the dungeon regularly.
Meanwhile, Schwarz did head up to Death Mountain, and just a horde of cash in Paradox Cave to start.
There are a few more chests here to check. And I will say I'm a big fan of the Dumble Bomb start here in the Paradox Cave. Drop 2, use 1 to throw, and hopefully the other one kills some Moldorms. At this point we may just get a lot of downtime before another important item is found because of how much Purdy has and Schwarz is gonna get him in due time. And Schwarz will make the call here into Tower of Hera. The basement doesn't have anything. We know the map is there based on the hint. He's gonna be able to check the tablet here. I'm actually going back into this a little bit surprised this call is the first one to be made, since they do know that Uncle has a sword. Schwarz will be able to guarantee getting the item there. It's just cash, but it definitely feels like Schwarz is making some changes to his routing, perhaps based on the depths that he's taken.
Yeah, I mean, given that we've combed most of Dark World Death Mountain, and granted we still have to go to Turtle Rock, like, you are going to have to come back up here at some point, because you got to do Aga 1, you got to do Turtle Rock, so you are going to be making another Death Mountain climb at some point.
Well, if the Mad Batter has anything in store for us today, this call is definitely a good one with the powder there in the Tower of Heaven. Now, you do just get a regular heart, I believe, here in hard mode instead of a fairy, if you decide to use it on anti-fairies.
Which, given the amount of health we have at this point, you take any hearts you can get.
Oh, absolutely, and, well, Graveyard Ledge, we knew that didn't have anything, but that's one less location that Schwarz has to check, and we did see Wong picking up another bottle there in the Vanilla Big Key chest, a location that Schwarz didn't check. And Schwarz is bringing out the hammer here for the Moldorm fight.
Yep, we've only found the powder in here, so the second item is going to be on Trolldorm, because we know the basement doesn't have anything from the hint.
Moldorm moves around randomly in circles. Just natural habitat stuff, how Moldorms live, I guess.
And just hoarding hearts.
I'm not really sure heart pieces are all that bad. It's just that Schwarz would much rather have something else. It's just that with the number of items that we see Purdy has, you have to imagine that the items that remain are buried deep in some dungeon. But Schwarz, second crystal and getting deadrocked. He technically has 3 dungeons down at this point. Purdy is soon going to catch up with the Eastern pod back-to-back and does have many more items, but this race is far from over 15 minutes in.
Because especially to what you were saying earlier, like, the fact that we're basically potentially 2 items away from go mode, at most probably 4. Or 5, depending on where the mirror is. Like, this race, if they're in very one-off locations, that could really open up a chance for Schwarz to kind of get back even with Purdy if they end up having to make all the same checks.
Yeah, absolutely, and this powder leading to the Mad Batter is definitely one of those locations. If that happens to have something, definitely really good for Schwarz. It's going to be quite tricky to properly route that thing in for him. Meanwhile, we do see Purdy having checked all locations, now moving to Helman's King. He's sitting on 7 hearts with Bloomel, which is quite healthy, I'd say. Now, also, as mentioned earlier, they do have everything they need for Skullwoods, but they found both of the items, so there is no reason for them to return back to Skullwoods until they find that they have all the items that they need in order to do everything else. We are going to see Schwarz go up here and check the pedestal, it looks like.
Yep, Mirror can't be there because of Swamp Palace. the Meyer medallion can't be there. Whether it's mirror or flute that gets you to Meyer, that can't be there either near Canis Marius. So actually I've kind of just pretty much just, yeah, said Pedestal's dead anyway.
Yeah, and Kane couldn't be there because he also needed that for Meyer. It just didn't seem very possible it could be really anything apart from a silver arrow. And it's always good to, in Schwartz's position, check that, get that out of the way. No need to worry about that, at least have some progression there. For now here doing the Helmet Sword fight, we'll need 17 hits with the hammer for the first phase. It still will take a lot of damage without the access to that many hearts and with only blue mail, but we do see Helmet Sword King falling.
And just 10 arrows.
So that was a potential hammer lock location for the boots, so they weren't there. Schwartz is now going to be making all of these checks in Kakariko. Purdy is saving and quitting after pod.
Heads back up the mountain.
This is really peculiar. It may just be that he is just hammering down the unintentional pun, these locations that are hammer locked to try and find the boots.
Gotta imagine the way Purdy's routing this, that he's heading for Turtle Rock. We could probably go through the portal there, because we can't get in because we need Bombos. If you wanted to get in that way.
Yeah, we'll have to take this route instead.
So here's one of those hammerlock places.
Yeah, Schwartz picks up his 6th heart here, and well, that's another hammerlock location. I don't know, I'm really starting to think the boots are in Swamp at this point.
Isn't Spike Cave one of those hammerlock locations?
It is, but they don't have the cape yet, so it's not in logic.
Wouldn't the Cane of Burna count?
Does the Cane of Burna give invincibility for that room only?
Yes. Cane of Burna in hard mode does not give invincibility for enemy attacks, but I think for spikes it still allows it.
Then Spike Cave should be in logic, yes. So we may get to see Purdy doing that after. So how does it then work in that one room with spikes in Mystery Mire, where you need to traverse spikes in order to flip a switch and then go to a chest? Does the Cane of Burna work in that room?
I want to say yes, but I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just very rare you actually see people using an invulnerability item in that room, even though it is required per logic to accommodate one-hit KO mode.
Yeah, Blazin and JP in chat are saying that Burna works on spike floors, it just doesn't work for enemies.
The wonders of game design. We are going to see Swords now picking up the Master Sword as Purdy makes the call to do Tower of Hera. Did miss that Fire Rod hint earlier, but they kind of had Fire Rod after like a minute. And with this trip here by Swords, we'll be able to pick up the Tempered Sword.
So if I recall correctly, Bo was in the Dam chest. Ice Rod was in Sanctuary.
Yep.
And the King of Burner was in Back of Escape.
Yeah. I believe those were all correct.
So that will pretty much put us, in terms of items, back to even.
And dungeons would also be pretty even soon enough. Now Purdy's gonna have a significantly better sword for this Moldorm fight, and can therefore just finish it off a little bit faster if Moldorm doesn't really want to give you a hug.
Yep. Purdy got trolled.
Life of a Moldorm. Unfortunately for Purdy, second time's the charm. Nope. Okay, so Moldorm has a completely random pattern, and sometimes Moldorm just doesn't behave at all. We do see Swords meanwhile setting up a Death Warp here.
Alright, third time's the charm.
And that's the third dungeon done for Purdy. Swords is not going into the back here. That's interesting. Just leaving after taking the Death Warp.
Looks like he's heading south, so he'll get his bow here.
And Purdy will be able to get the item here. This is going to take a little bit longer, but if this was something of importance, this would definitely have been in his favor. I don't think Purdy wanted to jump down there.
No. No. Kinda just left Spiral Cave, which doesn't have anything in it, but still, that's a check. Plus, he also just, I think he was wanting to do Spike Cave and then remembered, oh yeah, no portal.
Yeah, I don't really think he wanted to leave the Spiral Cave. We know it's nothing, but it could be important later down the line if this just turns out to be one of those seas where they're just chasing that one location that has the item that you're looking for.
And given that we're an hour in, perfect time to remind everyone that this is a tiebreaker race between prdwong and iamtheschwarz to get the last spot into the bracket of 32, heading into this last phase of the fall tournament. So please be sure to give both of them follows on Twitch for this match. Winner gets in the bracket of 32, loser is done.
And in their previous 3 matches that they played, Purdy won all 3 matches that they played between each other, but this is the match that does decide the outcome.
So we're gonna see Wong take his second attempt at blind, and sword beams will certainly help with that.
And after this, we'll be able to do all of these other dark roll checks with the Myth's Hammer, can do pegs, do Smith. And just a prime showcase of how useful those sword beams are when you die to blind once and then you go in and he's always at the top. But sword beams just makes it so much easier. So Swords is clearing out the few remaining locations here in Palace of Darkness.
Now we're going to see another one of those hammerlock locations that the boots could be in Peg Cave.
Yeah, it certainly does feel like Purdy has been prioritizing these hammerlock locations to try and go fast. The search continues.
And now, time to go get Jeremiah.
It's going to be a pretty long tour here. Yeah, it's a long tour. So Swartz is leaving that Vanilla Beaky location. May just go back in and do that afterwards. There's a bottle there. We know there's an item. Let's wait and see if he is that thorough in his routing to check every single location.
Okay, bombsmiths today. Purdy heading back to Death Mountain.
Wait, couldn't Purdy just have checked Mad Batter there?
Yes.
I'm okay. What? I'm surprised. I'm what? What's going on?
I think Purdy has to be searching for the boots at this point. Knowing that the boots are in a hammerlock spot, he's checking all the hammerlock spots.
Yeah, but that location is just right next to you.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, like, that's got to be what Purdy is thinking at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that, but it just seems very weird, and I guess we're going back to Kakariko anyway.
Well, that pays off, sort of.
Yeah, well, the search for the mirror continues. Meanwhile, Swartz taking down the Helmsor King. Yeah, just very surprised by these routing decisions here from prdwong.
That also will get him to the Mire area. And if Ether is needed for Mire, we can get in, but we still need the Cane of Samaria to get to Vitreous.
And we do know that there is a heart container in the Mire shed, but we don't know what the other item is. And Schwarz is going back in to check the vanilla big key location.
Yeah, I think he just went right for Helmasaur.
Yeah, he went bow-locked side into Helmasaur. Curtis is gonna take this time here to activate the flute. Schwarz is soon gonna be able to get this bottle. I'm a little bit sad that Wong didn't keep the mushroom. I heard duck with mushroom is very delicious. Schwarz is done, also save and quits, not checking Eastern. No one is checking Eastern this season. Or maybe it's faster to take this path to Eastern, or is it planning something else?
So Purdy is using that portal to make their way over to Ice Rock Cave. This may be the Eastern play you've been asking for.
I'm just quite surprised that it's taking this long, and is this the faster way to do it in inverted?
I mean, you still have to walk all the way back through the maze. So I'm guessing Schwarz probably is thinking it would be better to just save and quit, because now you can also check Sahasrarla's closet.
Yeah, you will get the 3 items that are here, which could be something valuable. Or it could be nothing.
I mean, money is technically valuable.
Technically, but they have all the rupees that they need in this seed. It's just Sora that's left in terms of the things they have to spend it on. And, well, it's a free mirror there on the island.
Okay.
And that's been available for a very long time.
Yeah, it has.
Oh, and Schwarz could have checked that island on the way to Eastern, but he's went straight to Eastern, so he's gonna have to go back and get that later. And it looks like Purdy is just going to go straight into Swamp, another one of these Hammerlock locations.
I mean, it is also the one dungeon that's left that has the most item locations available.
And you will need to finish all the dungeons here, since this is an all dungeons seed. Looks like Purdy had a little bit of hesitation there before checking the hint. It didn't have any info.
And yeah, to update those who are asking in chat, we're down to Samaria for certain for Go mode, whatever medallion we need for Meyer, and maybe Boots if we're Boots locked, but we know there's a hint that says that the Boots are locked by the hammer.
Yes, that is the current situation.
Okay, big key for Meyer is in the fire-locked location.
It's just a matter of whether it is the cutscene chest or not, but at least you know you have to go to that area anyway when you get into... The other 2 items then in Meyer needs to be in some other location. Well, Purdy continues his pursuit for the boost, I presume. Sword's still here in the Eastern. And Swartz, knowing that you can actually use the hookshot there on the hint tiles to drag yourself across to them. And Purdy is going to do the entire dungeon, not leaving anything out.
So where can this cane be? If we don't find it here in Swamp. It could be in Desert. We have the whole desert area that we haven't checked yet.
And there's still a good amount of locations where it can be. Could be in Mire.
That is true.
Unfortunately. Swords not quite getting the quick kill here on Armos, but he's gonna get fight no problem at all. Now if Purdy actually gets the boots here, he can just run straight over to Desert after this and just get that dungeon done with immediately, and then simply mirror over and check the Mire area.
There are the boots.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Purdy has been searching this entire seed for that one location. There's a medallion as well, so just getting some nice pickups here.
Schwartz heading away from Eastern now that that's finished. Heading for Lake Hylia, so hopefully we'll get the mirror here shortly.
May opt to start with the Hobo. It's going to be Hobo first. And then likely swim across the island before heading to Sora. May do what Purdy's doing here and just skipping Sora entirely. So Kane can also be on Pyramid Ferry, because Desert is the other 5-6. We can say that Green Pennant is dead. Can't be anything from it.
Yep, because Mire is the Green Pendant. Everything you would need, everything that we're looking for is essentially to get into and through Mire, and that's where the Green Pendant is, so it can't be there.
Swartz is buying capacity upgrades? Sure, yep. Why not? Don't see this very often, but
because it refills your arrows.
Yeah, it's rarely used, but you do see it being put into motion at times, and Swartz is... Oh, I just hope that he goes and checks that island.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Purdy has to take down all these small Argad before moving over to Argus. Trying to set up the quick kill here with the fire rod and not quite getting it.
And there's Kana Samaria on the Zora ledge.
You know, as Purdy kills this boss, it may take him a long time to get there, because he basically said after he got the mirror, I'm not gonna check Zora, I'm just gonna go somewhere else. So, this is a weird...
You have to hope. in some ways, you have to hope that Schwartz uncharacteristically decides to walk all the way back to the Zora Whirlpool to go check Lake Hylia Island. But he is continuing to walk. Oh, I don't think he's done Mushroom yet, has he?
No, I don't think so. I'm potentially still looking for Bumbles here for Meyer. You see the net on the desert ledge, and yeah, Schwartz is walking over to the mushroom. And then there's still an Ice Rod in Sanctuary, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He may walk over after doing Mushroom, or swim across and go check over by the graveyard area. Even though he has seen the hint that the graveyard ledge doesn't have anything.
Just that so many items in this seed have been available in the overworld. We do see that boots are in fact needed for desert though, so boots from a dungeon, Moon Pearl from a dungeon, but basically everything else is available in the open.
A unique item is near Misery Mire. So that we saw the one hint about the heart container being there. So that pretty much at this point could only be, what, Silver Arrow's Bombos or Cape?
Yeah, it must be one of those three items that are there.
We haven't seen the single arrow yet, have we?
Yeah, I don't think we have. So it could be that. I mean, we're hoping it's not, but it could be. Potential red boomerang. Does the boomerang count as unique since there are technically two of them?
I don't know.
Well, Schwartz gets his Spy Cave in logic. And Purdy is skipping the bug net.
Chat confirming that boomerangs are unique, so the red boomerang could be there. Schwartz gets the ice rod. So desert certainly seems like the only option that Schwartz really has left.
And that mirror on the island, it just seems like he's... I don't want to say forgotten about it, but it may just not be on his mind at the moment.
And he's not heading there, he's heading for the desert area.
And unfortunate thing is, mirror is required for Swamp. Swamp, of course, is a dungeon, but also the boosts are there, so every second that passes is just Purdy moving faster. But if Purdy makes the call to go into Mire here, and that's gonna be a double dip for him.
Yep, he is.
Well, we're at least starting off here with getting the unique item inside. It's Quake.
So we can get in.
So
Alright, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Hey, we're just in time for the Big Key guessing game. So as you all know, there are 22 locations where the Ganon's Tower Big Key can be in the basement of Ganon's Tower. And if you want to play in this guessing game as we make our way through Agate Tower, before we head into Ganon's Tower, guess the number between 1 and 22. But you need to subscribe to one of our 6 speed gaming channels or donate 250 bits in order to get on that leaderboard. Harvick, you here?
Oh, you know, I think I'm here.
I at least hear your voice, which...
That's good. We are gonna see prdwong first do the Agate Tower before going to Ganon's. I'd like to take this time to apologize for the technical difficulties. Unfortunately, Discord decided to not work, and we kind of need that to do our commentary, so we apologize, and we hope that you all enjoy the fact that we are now back online again for the conclusion of this great match that we've had here.
Yeah, pretty much, we saw prdwong make his way up to Zora and get that Cane of Samaria, so he's been in go mode for about, I would say 15 minutes at this point, and Schwarz, unfortunately, is still looking for that mirror that we know is on Lake Hylia Island.
Yeah, at this point it just seems that even if he finds it at this point, he is so far behind. I don't know, it's not over until it's over, but at this point it certainly feels. But Schwarz will now get the mirror. It's just too little too late, unfortunately.
So that doesn't necessarily put Schwarz into go mode, because we know he still has to go to Swamp Palace. Boots and Quake will be there, and that will get him, that will be his go mode at that point.
And both of those were on the left side of Swamp, interestingly enough. So he may just opt to go straight for the boss, and fortunately that's not going to work out in his favor. We're just gonna be doing this straightforward Aga 1 fight. Schwarz, of course, making the call to go into Swamp Palace at this point.
Alright, so AGA 1 is down. And we're right outside to go into AGA 2, so guesses are about to be closed. Once we go in the door, guesses are closed.
And regardless of location here, it just seems like the seed is decided at this point. The match is it's decided. It's a one.
It's so decided, the seed just decided to put a big and small key in there, just be like, alright, we're good.
Yeah, that's just the perfect. The absolute perfect. Oh, even a small key here on the torch. It can't get better than that.
So better that nobody actually even guessed one. The correct guess from a sub or supporter was Excalibur at 3. Wong still needs arrows.
Yep, he still needs to find some arrows, so he's gonna to dig. Normally this is something where, if you're in his position, you're digging up fairies, but you have to feel absolutely awful. It's just that this doesn't matter at all in this situation.
The thing is, there are arrows. There are arrow drops in left side of GT. Like, I almost would have probably just continued my way left side into GT, you know, make checks, you just happen to maybe get the silver arrows, and then, you know, get enough arrows and then just mirror yourself back to the gauntlet.
It may be a call of not knowing all the specific pot drops in the dungeon.
That's true.
You will need 4 in this upcoming room and then 4 in the next one, but you can get arrows there underneath a pot. Yes, purposely being a little bit more careful than you. We'll also pick up those 10 arrows there, very conveniently dropped, just to have some more ammunition moving into the gun. Now Schwarz is going left side first. This will give him his go mode items. Just good for him. It's just, he's 5 dungeons behind at this point.
Yep. And in hard mode, since you can't catch fairies and they're not in the item pool, Wong is obviously going to get those fairies in there. So he's going to head into the gauntlet at 151.24.
He's about as well equipped for this as you can be in hard mode. 11 hearts, blue mail, tempered sword. Schwarz there picking up the boots and will now be able to get Quake. And as the next stage of the tournament will begin on Tuesday, we will be introducing the new Expert Mode difficulty as a selection for our players, which will add an increased layer of, you guessed it, the difficulty that they will have to navigate around. Which includes 5 less heart containers, you're stuck with Master Sword, no mail upgrade, just making it even harder, you know. The hookshot doesn't stun enemies. And the most notable one, red potions, they give you 1 heart.
Oh, lovely.
To be fair though, when your maximum heart number is 9, 1 is quite a lot.
True.
Another thing it also means is that, as we've seen in these veto matches here, you could veto normal or hard and guarantee yourself the other difficulty, but since another difficulty will be added, that can no longer be done, so it may actually change how the players decide to veto their match.
That is true, and that is the only change from the group stage to the bracket stage. All the other options that have been there are still there.
Yeah, we did see iamtheschwarz actually vetoing normal here, which did force hard mode. It's not something you will be able to do in the next stage. You can still veto normal, but you don't know if you're going to get hard or expert, and maybe you feel more confident in one mode than the other. And Schwarz getting the setup here for this quick kill with the dash.
And there are the silver arrows right before Trolldorm 2.
Yeah, that's just the arrow in the coffin at this point. Just perfect find there, and it's just gonna trivialize this Ganon fight that's coming up. Well, Schwarz is done with Swamp. He has so much to go at this point.
Chad is saying this is probably the best Ganon's Tower layout possible.
Yeah, it looks like Purdy here is heading towards a sub 2 hour on this seed. Very well done.
Yeah, as long as he has a clean Ganon fight, he still could get in under 2 hours.
Yeah, Ganon can still teleport for like 3 minutes if he decides to do that, but yeah, besides that, should be pretty straightforward for him. Now, he won't get a health refill after this fight, so he will be entering with 5 hearts blue mail, so he will have to play a little bit careful.
But it is Big Pig time.
As well equipped as one can be. Except for the cape. Where is the cape anyway? They never found that. It's like in Ganon's Tower. We need 12 hits for phase 1 and 12 hits for phase 2.
Yeah, and these positions for Ganon are not very conducive to trying to get through in one cycle. And now Wong's down to 1 hit left.
But he did get the 12 hits in, but yeah, that's not a good position to be in, unfortunately, and he will take the death here.
Well, there's one. About, like, what, 50 more to go?
Well, if you're in his position, though, you may just think that, oh, this step, now I've lost. I'm not gonna do this. Schwarz is gonna finish. A death may just cause you to be more stressed out about your current situation. Schwarz continuing in desert meanwhile.
Yeah, at this point, Schwarz knows he's in go mode.
He has to play this extremely carefully. And we are in phase 3, and Ganon's gonna start off here with some teleportations.
Man, Ganon, sit still for a minute.
Let Ganon have his fun. He wants to enjoy his little time here in the spotlight before we move on to the next stage. Ganon needs some exercise, you know. And yeah, we know the Silvers were in your tower.
Surprisingly, we actually did find them.
considering the state of the seed and with how fast they found the big key, yeah, actually a bit surprised they were found, but, you know, this match is...
And even with the fall to Ganon, prdwong is gonna nudge in here under 2 hours. Just gotta walk through that door, and then prdwong will finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, 37 seconds. GG's to prdwong, you've made it into the bracket stage.
And he will, in the end, take down iamtheschwarz 4-0 in this group. As he now joins us here for the post-game interview. Congratulations.
Hey guys, GG.
How you feeling, man?
Well, I guess it turned out good for me, but at the end there, I did not really feel that good. I felt like I found the mirror and the cane late, so I was afraid that I was behind.
That, unfortunately, is the thing that really kind of made the difference in the race, because Schwarz went to Lake Hylia and forgot to check the Lake Hylia island, so even though you actually found the mirror first, you were so far ahead of him because it took him forever to go back to Lake Hylia.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I skipped some locations too, like, right after I turned in the blacksmith, I realized that I forgot Magic Bat, and so there were some things that, yeah, I was just hoping it wouldn't bite me.
So, early on in this race, we saw Moon Pearl was in Ice Palace. And so there was a chant, you know, there was going into Pod, there was going into Ice, as I just said, but you found the sword, the first sword in Super Bunny Cave. Was there any thought at all to going and doing, just getting Aga 1 over with?
You mean to find the Moon Pearl afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
Or just... I thought about it, but the problem is I didn't have Mirror, and I think that really limits where Moon Pearl can be in the Light World. And if I had gone and killed Aghanim, I felt like it would have taken me a long time to check those locations, whereas the seed really was pointing you towards Ice Palace. It gave you all the tools to kind of go through all of Ice Palace. I didn't really want to go into Ice Palace, that's why I kind of put it off, even though it was screaming at me to go there. But eventually I was like, I think Ice Palace is a better play than going off to kill Aghanim and going through Light World as a bunny.
No, that makes sense. I was just curious kind of what your thinking was, you know, at that kind of critical point where you were just missing the Moon Pearl in terms of getting into the Light World.
Yeah, I was hoping I could find something where I wouldn't have to go into Ice Palace so early. At the end, having found that stuff on Death Mountain, I figured, well, probably Lamp is an Ice Palace. And if I could sequence break around that and then not have to die a bunch in Ice Palace, you know, I felt like that might be better. But it turned out not to be the case. I mean, even though Lamp was there.
Yeah, it turned out both were there.
Yeah, but I felt like it was plausible that Schwarz might have gone to Ice Palace earlier than I. Like if you just followed those hints and just weren't afraid of going in there, then yeah, he could have found the Moon Pearl faster than I did. I felt like I spent a lot of time really hoping for that Boots hint. So I went out of my way to check all these hammer locked locations. I think maybe looking back, I feel like I should have given more weight to the possibility that the Boots were in Ganon's tower, because I think that might have been really likely. And doing all these one-off Spike Cave, Hammer Peg checks, like I feel like those really cost me as well when I was playing. I felt behind.
Yeah, that was certainly the case, because that was kind of at that point where Schwarz not having the mirror, I mean, neither one of you actually had it at that point, but you were kind of... That was kind of at that point where we still had a few items from Go Mode, and both of you were kind of looking for a lot of different things.
Yeah, and I started running out of places. Like, I think I only had those flipper checks in Eastern Palace left at that point. And so, yeah, it definitely wasn't a very good feeling.
The only other thing I can really think of is, how about that Ganon's Tower? Pretty much had big key right in the first room with a small key, and then silver arrows were right where you would want them in hard mode.
Okay, so there was a long chain of events there. So I think I have to practice my Vidi fight some more, because I went in there and I was like, I have 8 arrows. I don't really want to use them all against Vitreous. So I tried to kill his little eyeballs, and I got hit so much that I was like, I can't take a risk. I just have to use all 8 arrows on the big eye. And so I knew I was out of arrows, but I was like, I'll pick some up somewhere. It's fine. And I went through Total Rock, and I didn't find any. And then I went through Aga Tower, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I can find some in here, and I didn't. I looked it up afterwards. I picked up like half the pots in the circle of pots, and all the ones I picked didn't have arrows, but there are 2 arrow pots in there. And then after that, then I was like, okay, well, it's okay. Ganon's Tower,
You there? We lost you for a sec.
Sorry. Yeah, so in going through Ganon's Tower, I was like, well, I'll find some arrows on the left side. And then I saw the big key, and I was like, oh, well, now where am I going to get my arrows? Yeah, and having already felt behind, the whole thing was kind of a mess.
What was your thought about doing, I had made it, and I'll admit this could be a very wrong suggestion, but I even said, well, maybe you could keep going left side, get those arrow pots, and maybe check for the silvers. But you just went outside and just started digging for them.
Yeah, the problem is I know in Ganon's Tower that the first arrow pot is right after Random Room, where if you don't bonk over the teleport tile. So I made the judgment call. I was like, well, I think that's too deep in there. I mean, I guess I could have gone right side. There's another arrow pod when you bonk over to Bob's chest, but I just felt like it would be faster for me to go dig for the arrows, and then silverless with tempered isn't that big of a deal, so I didn't. Yeah.
Just trying to honestly think of what other questions we have. Basically, just trying to get your thinking in terms of how that race went. But with that, you have made it into the bracket stage. So how are you feeling? How are you feeling heading into that?
I'm feeling that I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna get paired up against some beast of a player, and that'll be it. But that's okay. Like, it was a lot in doubt whether I would make brackets or not, and this is more than I was expecting.
It did seem a little bit like your routing heavily revolved around that boots locked behind hammer.
Yep, it definitely was. I really wanted those boots, but as the seed progressed, I think I got more into the mindset that this is not such a good idea. Like, I felt like I was wasting a lot of time, and I think I was wasting a lot of time on the off chance that boots were not in GT or Swamp Palace, which are a lot of hammerlock locations between the two of them. Yeah. It did convince me to go into Ice Palace maybe before Pod, because I was hoping to find boots maybe in Ice Palace.
Well, it was certainly a very rough opening. You were sitting on 4 hearts for like 40 minutes into the sea.
Yeah, I actually I almost considered after finding the Moon Pearl of just quitting out of there because it seemed rough to go after Cold Stare at that point. But I think I'll have to rewatch it. But it looks like I got multiple really lucky fire rod shots. So that I think that really helped out.
We're seeing Schwarz giving Cold Stare another go.
Much better fight the second time around.
So technically, Ice Palace was by logic a required triple dip, since King of Samaria was required since Cold Stare dropped a small key. Welcome to A Link to the Past Randomizer, ladies and gentlemen.
It did feel nice that I sequence broke Hookshot and brought it back to Ice Palace, because that definitely makes the dungeon easier as well.
Yeah, that hookshot ended up matter a lot since Schwarz didn't have that. He couldn't get through the spike floor because he only had half a heart, I believe, at that point. So he was forced to take the death and go back outside and then get the hookshot, and then he did basically everything there was, even did Aga 1 before going back into Ice Palace to get the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. But yeah, that's why I wanted to check out a bunch of other locations first. Like, maybe I'd find some more hearts or anything that would just kind of help, since going into Ice Palace. I mean, all those Dark World dungeons really early on, they all hurt. It's kind of sad. I was almost there on the Hammer blind fight, and I just died at the end. That also didn't make me feel so good.
There were a lot of deaths in the early game by both of you. So I guess with that said, so moving on to the next stage of the tournament, we'll be introducing the expert mode difficulty. How much are you looking forward to or not looking forward to?
It's fine. I don't think... I wouldn't say that's really a weak spot of mine, but it's just that whoever... I mean, with my record, I'm going to get paired against someone with a higher record who's going to be a better player. And I think that's the thing that's more relevant for me. Although, I mean, I suppose it could be someone with a better record who's just terrible at swordless or inverted or something. I don't know. I guess anything could happen.
It all depends on who you get seeded against and what their preferences are and how they work with or against your own.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm deathly afraid of expert or something. Actually, we just played a seed recently with on insane mode with the insanity entrance and the Randomizer settings dialed up to full, and I got through that one. I wasn't sure if I would be able to, but I did get through it. So expert it's got to be easier than that.
Guess time will tell for you, and it will also tell for the 31 players that will be joining you.
Yeah, I look forward to it, and I hope everyone enjoyed the race and all of our dying. But thanks, guys, for doing the commentary and everyone for setting this up, the trackers.
special shout out for Discord for working again.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the VOD, there was a period where no comms because Discord was giving us issues. But yes, again, GG's prdwong for making it into the bracket stage, and we will look forward to seeing you with the other 31 runners.
All right, GG's. Thanks.
Thanks for being a part of this tournament. Schwarz, meanwhile, is pursuing the end of the seed. He is not interested in forfeiting this. He wants to see the seed through to the end.
I mean, major props to him. I mean, at this point, you know you're out of the tournament. You know you've lost, but still making your way through and committing to finishing this, you know, that takes a, not endurance, but, you know, certainly the desire to finish it out. Yeah, as chat is saying, pride was the word I was looking for. Pride to certainly finish it out.
Schwarz will also be picking up the fairies here for the full health refill before moving up to the gauntlet. And he has decided to play this season. He's using bombos to clear these rooms fast. And perhaps not fast, but safely. In a way which guarantees that you're not going to die at least.
Yeah, this is certainly Murderer's Row.
You see, it has most certainly not been very kind to Schwarz from beginning to end.
And as you were mentioning earlier, this is pretty much going to do it in terms of the Link to the Past randomizer tournament until Tuesday when the brackets start. But on the Speed Gaming network of channels, we've still got other tournaments going on, like the Super Metroid and ALTTP randomizer race that's going on right now. That seems to be all that we have on the schedule for today, other than the Sega Genesis Classics tournament. Forgot about that. That'll be on the main Speed Gaming channel. But yeah, certainly, you know, we'll be off for the rest of this weekend, and then starting Tuesday, that is when these brackets that we're hyping up gets going.
You know, I'm quite excited for a certain thing that's happening on Sunday at 3 PM EST. Do you know what that is?
No, I do not, actually.
There's going to be a showcase race for Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons Randomizer, channel to be determined.
Okay. We're getting randomizers on all these Zelda games.
So if you still want some Zelda Randomizer content over the weekend, there is that showcase race, and there is the Super Metroid A Link to the Past, the crossover Randomizer that's also going.
Schwartz does get the silver arrows.
Sprinkling some powder on Moldorm, or Moldorm's arena, marking territory. Starting off here with a double. This was the blue ball one, unfortunately, but still gets one hit in. Barely not getting the double on that one. We'll need one more hit here.
There we go.
And for Schwartz, that just leaves the final Ganon fight. Schwartz trying to get the spin there to get the double spin off, unfortunately doesn't get it.
That'll get him into phase 2.
Very nice short hookshot there onto Ganon to get the invulnerability. Fortunately, still takes hit from a fire bat and will need another phase here. Wow, that was extremely close, but manages to save that. And was too far away for that first hit, so he has decided to play it safe, stay as far away as possible from that fire bat.
At this point, you're not racing anymore, you're just trying to make sure that you get this finished.
Gets the double in and sets up Ganon in such a way that another easy double can...
That will wrap it up.
We are unfortunately seeing Schwartz's final moments here in this tournament, but he goes off with a very well done Ganon fight.
Absolutely nicely done. GG's to iamtheschwarz. Official SRL time 2 hours, 22 minutes, 18 seconds. And unfortunately, Schwartz will not be able to join us because he does not have a microphone, but did mention in the SRL chat that he was pretty much tilted off the face of the earth after the early game and all the deaths. So he's saying that kind of led to him forgetting the Lake Hylia Island. And, you know, for him, he's pretty happy how far he actually got in the tournament, and that honestly he doesn't really find expert swordless or inverted all that fun. So, you know, he's happy with where he ended up in the tournament. So certainly pleased to have seen him run in this tournament.
We appreciate all of the players that have been knocked out in the tournament, those who attempted to even qualify in the first place in those old races, and of course, those who still remain, the 32 players that will start on Tuesday to find out who is going to be the winner of this tournament. So with all said and done, I'd like to thank both our runners today, prdwong and iamtheschwarz. I'd like to thank our tracker, Reg, as well as Cyclone for helping out behind the scenes. Special shout out to Discord for working. We will see you all on Tuesday, and until then, be sure to follow all of our Twitch channels on Speed Gaming 1 through 6 and ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 5. And with all said and done, I've been Marjevic.
I have been Jexrefi Marhevich. It's been a pleasure.
It has indeed, and we hope to see you all in the not too distant future, hopefully on Tuesday.